I said we're going to invite some calls, and that's exactly what we do in this show. We try and get the main people involved in the story to talk to us, and then we'll react. So, Chris, Evertonian, first up. You can react first. Chris, good morning. What do you make of it?
Good morning, Simon. Good morning, Jim. Big
Morning,
fan of the
Chris.
show. I run one of the Everton fan pages called Blue Steel, and I've been running that for the last 8 or 9 years. I've been a fan all my life. Don't live in the city anymore, but I regularly travel to all the games. I was at Old Trafford on Friday. You can look at it in two ways. You can say we've got a split fan base, which we have. Some want to support the ownership, others don't. So there's one key problem. The fans aren't aligned. Now, if you look at this, I'm going to reel off some things that I've pointed down. 1.2 billion, because if Farhad saying it's 750 odd million on the stadium, plus 500 million plus on players. Now, Simon will know this more than anyone. When you take over a football club, the first thing you've got to look at is all aspects. You've got to build solid foundations at a football club. The rest, then, you've got to build upon over years. You've got to have a clear strategy and plan. Now, that was after Marco Silva came in. And I like Marco Silva. Maybe wasn't given the time, but look what he's gone on to do with Fulham, with full control of the football club. The board, the board matches the owner, which Simon said. So where are these board members, right, that are there, that they're all aligned? How can any of them accept Rafa Benitez as a manager? It was a poor mistake.
Do you back Frank, Chris?
I do back Frank, and the reason I posted on my page a couple of years ago about Frank Lampard, young manager, he's got a lot to prove yet. Granted, with Frank, the experience isn't quite there. He'd done well at Derby, a lot of loan players, so we had good players. Went to Chelsea, like any Chelsea manager, as Potter's finding out now, it's a struggle if you're not doing well. But with Everton, he's shored up the back line, Frank, so I do support him. But there's two more things that aren't right at Everton. One, we sold Lukaku. Now, every fan at Everton saying, we need a striker, we need a striker. We've never replaced him. We sold Richarlison. We haven't really replaced him. Now, one key point in this, where is Farhad? Long-distance relationships do not work, or they don't really work that well. If he's writing on his letter that everyone's aligned and the focus of the club and the fans are aligned for a better Everton, he needs to be there at the game, surely, to see it firsthand and listen to the fans. Now,
let Simon answer that, Chris. What's your take?
Well, I do think that's right. I think you can make the other argument that Sheikh Mansour isn't every single game, and that ultimately he's got a team of people that just spend money and ultimately get the best managers in. Everton aren't in that position. The reasons why they're not signing players, Chris, though, is because you're under special measures. You can't start. You've got to balance books. You've managed to get yourself just under financial fair play by a couple of million quid by putting COVID adjustments in there and allowing the stadium financing and stadium investment costs in terms of planning permissions to be recapitalised. But you're in an incredibly invidious position, which is you need the Premier League's permission before you do transactions. So that means you can't just go out there and buy players indiscriminately because Moshiri's got the money. He can't spend it right now.
Yeah.
I understand that, but
Chris, round your call off for us. I'm going to give you another few seconds with us, but round it off for us. Will you protest on Saturday?
I would do, yeah. I think you can only go so far as a fan before you start losing. And if he spent all this money, who's making the decision on transfers? That's the first question I'd do. It can't always be down to the managers because you hear stories of things going on in boardroom level. So, like I said at the beginning, good foundations need to be set at